person who brought me into theater was Ruby Cohn. I went out to dinner with her one night and said, you know, I've been working in the art business for 5 years on commission, and I have some money now, and I could actually afford to go and get a PhD, but I don't know what to get it in. And Ruby said, well, you're not a scholar enough to get it in English, so you'd better go to theater. And so I went to theater. I had already had an all-woman troupe that was doing theater on the streets and in various venues and storefronts. So we'd been doing theater. But other than Ruby Cohn's undergraduate course in theater, I really hadn't had a class in theater. And I went to Berkeley because I thought it was politically avant-garde, the place to go. Berkeley, my God. And Ruby really wanted me to go to Stanford, but I went to Berkeley and it wasn't avant-garde. But nonetheless, while I was there, by a series of fortuitous events, I met Heiner Müller. And I was not going to work in German theater or anything like that, but I found that he was the most brilliant person I had ever met in my entire life. I thought his plays were extraordinary, both in content and in form. And so I decided to write my dissertation on him. I learned a lot about Marxism and communism and materialism. I was very interested in the class critique, in the idea of the East German state in which artists were responsible to the people and had to change their plays in discussion. So they would go to the factories, the people would see a play, they would have discussions afterwards, they would rewrite. I thought that was an incredible model of public responsibility. And all along I was thinking about women. Obviously I was not seeing very many of them on the stage. I wasn't seeing any women playwrights, and this just became more and more evident to me as I was a graduate student, I think. And so then when I came into the profession, feminism was beginning in the academy, and I just naturally gravitated toward it. At that time, we were just working on our own, some of us. There wasn't much there except feminist theory in film and feminist theory in literature, and we were trying to bring it over to performance with a number of other theories that were coming in, particularly from France at that time. So that sort of impelled me forward, and at the same time I was on the directing faculty and directing. And so a second big decision I had to make in my life was, did I really think I could do both of these things well, research and directing? And I decided I could not. And it seemed to me that I can make a bigger difference in writing books, given who I am, than in directing. And it was a time when we felt we could make a difference and people were interested in making a difference, some people, but a lot of people actually. And so I sort of dedicated myself to that. Rather than thinking about the job market, one might think about the job there is to do. And especially for LGBT people, there's a big job to do right now. You know, this marriage thing, I don't believe in marriage, but it's put us on the line. It's increased homophobic discourse, as well as increased the discourse of civil rights for queer people. And I think there's a lot of intervention to be made against fundamentalist thought today, both religious fundamentalist thought and other forms of it that are related. And so I think there's a lot to write about in that sense, and to perform and to be involved in, and not just those, but the women of Egypt. And I just think about a lot of things that are going on in the world today. It seems we're in a small boat on a tsunami of change. So I'm still continuing to write, and I just wrote an article which I hope is campy and amusing, and it's called Sprawled, Distracted and Nervous. Los Angeles Performs. And it's kind of about performance and Los Angeles in a broad way that becomes theoretical in the end, against centrist colonial cities and cities that organize themselves in a centrist manner and seem to be what everybody likes. And so they don't like sprawl, and they like focus, not distraction, and so forth. it's not nervous, it's shifting because of the earthquakes, sorry. So that I've just finished. I'm really having a good time, have just been thinking about it and having a good time doing it. I don't know what exactly is coming next because I just finished that 2 days ago. So.